Yo, do you like comics, mangas, etc., etc.? Well, I got quite the video for you today. Today, I'm introducing a new artist, and they go by the name LXA, or LX Arts. LXA is currently making a series, and that series is called Invasion Zero. Today I'll be going over like an interview that I had with him or set up with him through text. We were just talking, going back and forth. And if you're interested, go follow the guy. Keep posted. You know what I'm saying? I see mad potential in this. On that note, let's begin. Subscribe. In the beginning, I asked him to introduce himself, and he said, "I'm LX Arts, but you can call me LXA." Then they proceed to mention how you can also find them on their IG, which I'll be plugging in the description. I compliment the name. I low-key think it's tough, but I wanted to get to know the artist before we dive into the art. You feel me? Ain't that some shit? Because one thing that I don't see a lot of people doing, especially when they talk about others or their work, is like the person themselves. Let's get to know the person. I then proceed to ask what drives their creative process, and they told me. Their answer was essentially music, imagination, and Pinterest, which is actually really relatable, at least to most artists. Me personally, bro, I kind of just wing it. I don't know how else to explain it. Music is also pretty influential, especially with like, depending on what I'm listening to, I might specify or want to do something more or less. I might want to make a sad drawing or like a hype drawing or like just a chill drawing, depending on the music that I'm listening to. But it could also be that motivator, that push for you to do something more. Within their answer, they mentioned a story, and I'm like, hold on, let's take a deep dive into what that story is. They're currently working on a manga called Invasion Zero. It's a one-shot that's going to release later this year, but right now they don't really feel satisfied. Basically, they're trying not to delay it, but the story itself takes place in Houston, Texas. And within this universe, there are heroes, right? And there's a slight issue. These heroes can't really put their egos aside to form an actual team, let alone a productive one. But this changes with our MC Buddy. See, he happens to be a part of a team that can actually function. And their first appearance happens to be fighting the king of the main antagonists. And they're called Hellmons. The king of the Hellmons is named Meta. The team that is created is consisting of Buddy, his sister, and his friends. Also stating that, but after volume 1, things change. And he's already writing volume 5. And to every story, there's a backstory. So, let's go back. In the year 2034, a cosmic storm hit Earth, creating Cosma beings, which are like metahumans. They all have different classes and such, but that's a lot of info to go into right now. Along with the storm, Hellmons came. They buried down deep in the Earth, but 100 years later, they began to reappear. They kind of function like demons. They feed into your deepest, darkest wants, probably twist them a little bit, get you to do crazy stuff. And that aspect of it won't be explored on for a while, meaning like it doesn't get talked about again until the 3rd arc. And as strong as the Hellmons are, they're no match for the Hero Legion, which is Buddy's team. Nothing's gonna stop them from capturing and locking them up for good. He wanted to add that the manga is a comedy, action, and slice of life with a little bit of romance too. Yep, answered my question before I even asked it, which is kind of funny. Here are some sneaks and concept arts for you to look at. like what you see? Go check him out. Moving on, I was given concept art for volume 2 and 3. Feel free to look back and pause, take a look at any of the concept arts that are showcased in this video. Moving on, I asked him what roadblocks has he hit while writing, and this was their response. And the response was that they're never really satisfied with the story of the characters. There's 2 versions that they've made, but that other version may be influence or an influence on the second arc. Something else that tends to happen is that their imagination would literally just dip out mid art session, mid grind session. Proceeded to ask if they ever forget plot points or character designs as they progress. And they answered with no. That's part of the reason why they keep writing. They could just stop and pick it back up later, continue when they have more time or they have more of an incentive to keep going. Absolute cinema in my opinion. Dude was inspired by JJK and MHA. Those were like baselines and references that he used to build up the characters, the world, etc, etc. Very peak inspirations, and I see why. LXA also began to state that the structure will be different from most mangas, so I decided to ask how so. LXA treats the volumes more like movies, where every mission kinda counts like its own one-shot series, where writers and artists can create their own heroes and stories, and as long as it doesn't interrupt the actual canon story, could be considered a part of the universe. Now this is fire because we already know how fandoms get. They like to make their own self-inserts or OCs to try and plug them into the universe. Now you can literally do that, but who knows, I might make my own. But this means you guys also gotta get creative. Don't mischaracterize certain characters, or don't try to mess up the flow of things just because it fits your narrative. If you want it to be like an actual mission story. If you're doing it for shits and giggles, or you want it to be like an alternate universe or something like that. I don't know how LXA feels about that, but my take on it is go ahead, have fun, just don't be weird about it. LXA did this so that there's always something new. There are plenty of talents, and if you're like interested in the fandom or interested in the manga that he's creating, you can tell your own story with your own set of characters. But he doesn't have to be the only person with the team. I added that this is very interactive because it gets the community involved, and it's a very entrepreneurial concept because I haven't seen anyone do this before. I haven't seen someone actively say, yeah, go for it to the fandom for them to go crazy aside from like FNF. But we're talking about a manga right now, so I don't even think this counts. This is, in my personal opinion, this is very fun, especially for artists, writers, and people who like to collab. But all good interviews come to an end. I asked as a closing question, I'd like to ask you 2 things. When should we expect the first volume to come out? And when would it be available? Well, I meant where, but shit. Well, he planned on releasing a one-shot first, Buddy's first appearance. And he wants to work with Viz, but he doubts they will choose it. Either way, the one-shot will come out later this year or early January. January 2026. So early of next year. There's ambition in the way that LXA speaks, and I'll rock with that. So after we kind of finalized the interview, he asked if there was anything else I wanted to know. And I said, I already ran down the list, but if there's anything he'd like to address, should say it. And he did. Basically teasing that he'd like to be back in the future, you know what I'm saying? And when there's one invasion, there's definitely another one coming. For my artists, this one is for you. Fan art time, you feel me? Not all the designs are public, right? But Buddy and Akira are. So if you draw them, or you draw them together, tag them. boy. This shit so tough, boy. I forgot to mention a little small detail about Kira where she wears gloves because of her powers. So, do what you will with that information. You could even guess on what it was. Did you know that the one shot he's planning is 48 pages? Yes, you heard me, 48 pages. So here is a direct message from the GOAT, LXA himself. LXA wants you to follow your dreams, don't give up. It sounds like corny, cheesy, basic, but don't do that. You got something, you got a way you want to make money, you got a vision that you see that you want to pursue. Chase it and don't stop. Don't forget to follow up that Instagram, you feel me? Yeah. Don't forget now. Yeah. Here, I'll leave it up for you. Yeah. Be on the lookout for Invasion Zero. Get to that big 1K subscriber goal, you feel me? Check out some of my other videos too.